Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. This is your Best Bets episode for Tuesday, December 9th. As the NBA Cup quarterfinals begin its knockout round, baby. We're going to talk about the two games on the slate. We're going to break them down in detail. We're going to get into the weeds. We're going to build a cup bracket. We're going to get your best bets, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star across the slate. Only two games, but we're going in depth on these two great games that we got going on. To do that, I've got with me Kyle Murray from Roto Grinders at KMurDFS. That's KMURRDFS in the Action Network app and on Twitter. I got Bryan Fonseca at Bryan Fonseca NY on Twitter in the Action Network app. Make sure to check out his YouTube page at Bryan Fonseca. I got Joe Dellera from the Cash That podcast at Joe Dellera after we smacked on Best Bets on the Sunday Night Podcast with the Suns and Mark Williams as well, because, well, that's what we do here is we bet on the Knicks and Mark Williams, and that's just what we do. And, well, probably going to be a little bit more of that tonight. Reminder that everything we talk about can be found in the award-winning Action Network app. Best way for you to track your picks. Sign up for Action Pro, and you get instant access to Sean Kerner and Chris Raybon. If you use promo code POD20 right now, just visit actionnetwork.com/pro and use promo code POD20, and you can get $20 off an annual subscription with that promo code POD20. $20 off with code POD20 at actionnetwork.com/pro. Okay. There's two games on the slate in the association on Tuesday night as Cup action begins. At DraftKings Sportsbook, the Miami Heat are 1.5 favorites on the road at the Orlando Magic. That's moved now to -1.5 plus 100. So Magic are clearly taking some money here. Over the total is 234.5. Money line is 110 both ways on it. The New York Knicks are visiting White Vegas, and the Toronto Raptors, they are 4.5-point favorites. We have two road favorites in this spot, which is interesting. This is going to be the second and third time in quarterfinals over the last two. We've only had 2 years, but in quarterfinals history that we've actually had a home dog. Typically, obviously, we get a lot of home favorites. Home teams have not done amazingly ATS in this tournament, in this round, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. Total is 225.5 for Knicks Raptors. Knicks -185 on the money line. Raptors +154. Okay. Fonseca, you are a Heat sympathizer. You talk about the Knicks a lot on the New York Post live shows and YouTube page, as well as your Hot Ones episode the other day was great, by the way. What is your feel for the Eastern Conference side of this bracket with the Heat taking on the Magic with no Franz Wagner? He's out. Luckily, he's only going to be out a month with that high ankle sprain, but he won't be available for the Cup. And the Heat coming off 3 straight losses. Raptors starting to tailspin. Knicks have been the best team so far overall. What's your read on the Eastern Conference side of the bracket?
The Knicks better win this side of the bracket. I mean, this is like a great opportunity for them for a couple of different reasons. One, and we'll talk more about like the Raptors game specifically, so I'm not going to give away one of my bets, but as you mentioned, the Raptors are in a tailspin. In this tailspin, they haven't covered a game in 2 weeks since November 24th. The Knicks have not been good on the road, but they have an opportunity here against a team who is clearly missing RJ Barrett. Like, part of this Raptors tailspin coincides with when RJ Barrett's left the lineup, which we've been talking up here about how good RJ Barrett's been this year, and they've clearly lost that, despite the fact that, like, I like Toronto's top 9, we'll say, in terms of depth. But they clearly need RJ Barrett there for that 3-headed monster that they have. And the Knicks are also amongst these teams. They're the best team in the East of these 4 teams. And you could say in general also, but specific to the NBA Cup, these 4 teams, they're the best team left in terms of talent. And they're also healthy. Like, we're expecting Karl-Anthony Towns, who practiced on Monday, to play in this game against Toronto. As mentioned, Toronto's missing one of their best players. Deuce McBride, don't know if he's going to play. He's a little bit more questionable, is what I would say. But regardless, it's Deuce McBride. You shouldn't lose a game because you don't have Deuce McBride, even if Tyler Kolek is not, Deuce McBride level, but he will play. And in looking at Miami and Orlando doesn't have Franz Wagner. We'll see how they look with a Paulo-centric team now. They did it the other way. Now they're going to have to do it this way. And then with Miami, they haven't been the same team. It's a combination of the reintegration of Tyler Hero and also the team kind of being figured out, so to speak, by others, and also just the gimmick, the offensive gimmick, the pace sort of wearing off a little bit. So this is a great opportunity for the Knicks, I think.
Seems like it's well primed for them with where this bracket is kind of at heading into this round. That's why we saw this coming down the pipeline. We gave out Jalen Brunson Cup MVP as like one of our official bets. We were playing Knicks to reach the semifinal this week. Joe Dellera, you want this to be a Knicks pod? I am slowly giving in. Is there what's standing in the way of the Knicks at least making the finals?
I mean, the Knicks have not been particularly good on the road this season, and they are dealing with a couple injuries, but I do agree with Bryan. Overall, they are a much healthier team, at least in terms of their main talent here. Getting OG Anunoby back was huge for this game. I think that OG really helps the defense overall, and I think that they were able to see what Bridges can do when OG's out, and he's able to kind of play that free safety role, which I think is the most effective role for Bridges. I think there was some conversation, I was always seeing like on Twitter, and they're like, Mikal Bridges is an all-pro safety, and the Knicks had been wanting him to play cornerback. And I think, when OG's out, you get to see, and it makes a little bit more sense to maybe use Bridges in that type of safety-ish role, like, a floater, jumping passing lanes, whatever, not like a lockdown one-on-one guy. And I think that's something that, can only happen sometimes when players miss time with injury. So I think overall, New York should be able to progress through this. The issue is that, these are one game situations and anything can kind of happen in a one game scenario. The variance is obviously higher. And I think that's something that you always need to be cognizant of. We see it in the NFL. We see it in March Madness. You see it in that type of format where if it's one game, the variance is higher. Anything can happen. Whereas in a full game or in a full series, you often see that variance play out. So I think that's something to consider. But overall, New York should definitely win and definitely progress through here. I think you would say it would be disappointing for them to not get through here. But, at the end of the day, if they don't, then they don't play one extra game this season.
Joe's got his eyes on the big prize is how that translates. Knicks allow the second highest 3-point frequency in the NBA this season, and they allow the fewest shots from the mid range, which is where you want to force them. So that I think is a little bit concerning from that spot. In the comments, Jordan Carter comments that the Knicks are trash on the road. So I checked that, and yep, they are 3-4 straight up, 2-5 against the spread.
The worst in the NBA on the road.
So far this season. So, I mean, look, the spot is good. I do kind of wonder if Toronto's in position to take advantage of this because, like I mentioned, the 3-point rate, but Toronto's 26 in offensive 3-point rate.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really help them.
And I will say, we talked about this in the Future Jays pod. Was it last week? We talked about how Toronto was a team that we expected to regress. And I think we started to see that over the last week based on what their shot profile is, based on, what some of the advanced metrics look like, that Toronto was a team that we said, well, maybe they aren't as good as they've been. The results are a little bit outperforming what the underlying data shows. And we've kind of started to see that over the last week. I do wonder if maybe, Toronto's over-indexed here. And I think that if you look at the way the spread has kind of progressed, I think this opened last week at basically like a pick 'em, and New York is now up to a 4-point favorite, even though they're on the road.
Yeah. Let's go to the Western Conference side we will not do best bets for those games. These are just for the Eastern Conference games, but I do want to get our thoughts on it before the bracket begins, since we're going to build a bracket here in a little bit. You've got the Phoenix Suns, who are 15.5-point underdogs. Dylan Brooks came back. They covered versus the Wolves. They played really well this season, and they are 15.5-point underdog to the Oklahoma City Thunder because the Thunder are just like, fuck you to everybody. Totals 224.5 plus 850 on the money line for your Phoenix Suns to pull off the upset. In the late game, Spurs Lakers. This is 4.5. Lakers 4.5-point favorites. Totals 235.5. Kyle, what do you think about when you look at the Western Conference side of the bracket? Is there anything to stop OKC?
I mean,
it's okay to say no, Kyle. It's okay to just be like, nope.
Naturally, I do lean towards no to stopping OKC. They just look like a dominant force. I will say Joe made a great point about this one game atmosphere and how that introduces a new level of volatility and variance compared to like a 7-game series. So I think the Lakers are obviously the most equipped team to, maybe get lucky in the semis and stop them there. But I mean, OKC didn't have SGA last game. They didn't miss a beat. I know they did play the G League Jazz with no Lauri Markkanen, but they won by 30 and they were up by like 20 points before the game even really started. So OKC is just so dominant top to bottom. So Devin Booker sounds like he's going to be back for that game, which is, good and important for the Suns. But then you have to, think about the level of rust he might have coming back from, I think it's a groin injury. So that's never something fun to return to. So obviously I think the Thunder take care of business pretty easily there. And then for the Lakers and the Spurs matchup, obviously some more health stuff. It was good to see Luka come back one game before the Cup started. And, he got started right back where he left off following the paternity leave, I suppose. So, yeah, I think for Luka to come out there and perform that well, and LeBron had a good game against the Sixers as well. So Lakers look like they're clicking on all cylinders. Spurs, though, they just got Stephon Castle back. Dylan Harper's coming off of a big game. That game, I think, could be sneaky close, but obviously I'm going to probably lean towards the Lakers there with Luka playing just so dominantly right now.
Victor practiced.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Saw that.
So Vic. By the way, I'm so incredibly mad that we got great numbers on Luka Doncic and Victor Wembanyama for Cup MVP, and they're going against each other here. It just breaks my absolute heart. If we just could have gotten, because I also look. I love the Suns. I'm probably going to bet them on tomorrow's Best Bets episode because this number is preposterous. Like 15.5 is extremely disrespectful to Jordan Ott. Like that's just very disrespectful to Dylan Brooks. That is disrespectful to Dylan Brooks. Even with no Devin Booker, I can't get there on that number at all.
Colin Gillespie.
And Colin Gillespie, right?
Mark Williams, baby.
And Mark Williams. But the Thunder should win that one. But like whether it's Wembanyama and the Thunder and the Spurs guard attack, or if it's the Lakers and Luka Doncic and their ability, like all that kind of stuff, I really actually kind of like those teams are amongst, if you were like, I'm going to give you 5 picks to try and knock off OKC, you take Denver and Houston. And then like, I would probably take the Lakers and the Spurs amongst the final 3 to try and knock them off. So could be really interesting here if we were able to get an upset going, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Really fascinating. I think basically this tournament is really fascinating if the Thunder don't win. Like otherwise it's chalk and it's boring, and like those are heavy favorites and they should be. Like there's absolutely no reason for them not to be. But I think it'll be pretty interesting. Speaking of, we're gonna give you picks. We're actually gonna go around the horn and we're gonna vote on filling out a bracket because DraftKings has pools up for the NBA Cup bracket with some pretty good payouts. So we'll talk about that in just a second. But first, the Buckets Podcast is teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code BUCKETSNBA when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code BUCKETSNBA when signing up and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. Okay. Crown is yours. And in order for us to build a great DraftKings selection for the night. I thought it would be fun if we went ahead and built a bracket. So here's what we're going to do. They have, by the way, great options for the cup bracket. If you go to the pool section on DraftKings Sportsbook, they've got a 50K, they've got a 10K, they've got another 10K that's much smaller if you want to go in on the heavy one. They've got like a bunch of cup pools that you can get into just for this little bitty bracket that we got going on here. I say they need to expand the NBA Cup bracket. We need to go to a full 8 teams in the Cup. That's what we need to do, especially with the ratings being up as they were on Amazon Prime. Okay, let's start. This is straight up. Is anybody going to be bold enough to try and make a case of the Suns? Anybody?
No.
Anybody want to make it?
Nope.
All I'm gonna say is the level of scrappiness that they do have at times, like they can make the game a little uncomfortable, but I probably think it's more likely they lose by 8 and not actually have enough to win.
Yeah, like one of the problems is like, okay, let's say that the Suns do everything right and the Thunder miss threes and they're not turning the ball over even though they don't have Jalen Green or Devin Booker, and they're creating offense somehow, and they've ground this game into a defensive slugfest, and they've done all the work and they've gotten into clutch time. You still got to deal with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being a clutch monster.
Right.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we will go ahead and not unfortunately, just like it would be a lot more fun if the Thunder weren't just like the dominant favorite. So Thunder advance. Let's go to the West side. Lakers Spurs. I'm really curious on this one. Straight up winner. Kyle, let's start with you. Lakers Spurs. Who wins?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I didn't even really look into the Victor news. I saw that he was getting some shots up before the game, but I didn't realize he had some pretty positive reports. I think that's obviously going to be a big factor there. I would still be fairly surprised if he plays. So I'm going to go with the Lakers. I think Luka's just in kind of a flow state right now. And I know the Spurs team looks really good, even, top to bottom outside of Wemby. Obviously getting him back would be huge, but I'm still going to go with the Lakers here.
Okay. We got flow state as a buzzword. Let's see what else we can get as we go along here. Joe Dellera, Lakers or Spurs?
I got to go with the Lakers. We got new dad, Luka, over here too. So you got that dad pop of energy as well. You really can't bet against that. Plus, I do think that even if Wemby comes back, I would imagine he's on some wild minutes restriction. So it's like, even if he does come back, I don't know how many minutes he's going to play, 20, 25. I doubt he's going to play the minutes that you would kind of need for him to get into like a real rhythm in this type of game against Luka, LeBron, and Reeves. So I think that this is just a Lakers spot.
I make this game very, very close. Spoiler for tomorrow. I make this game close. I may be betting, might be betting an overtime on this one, margin and overtime on this one. Bryan, Fonseca, Lakers or Spurs?
It feels disrespectful to go like 3 straight Lakers picks because, and also Joe mentioned the minutes restriction. Wemby can still get like 34, 11, and 7 in 26 minutes. Like he could if he plays. That being said, I like the way the Lakers are playing lately, and you have the reintegration of Wemby, which, I mean, he doesn't need a reintegration. He's Wemby, but still, like I think there are just more variables with back in the Spurs, whereas the Lakers are going to have Luka coming back. Not that Wemby isn't ultra competitive, because he is, but Luka is ultra competitive, and this does feel like a big time. Like if we were doing King of the Court, it would be a great Luka spot. Obviously, it normally is, but especially in this game. So I would lean Lakers. I'm not counting out the Spurs, but I would lean Lakers.
Yeah, I think this is a coin flip game. I really do.
We'll
do go ahead and we'll have the Lakers advance here. I do have them 60% based off of my own preseason priors.
That's about right.
For projected win percentage. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. Well, we'll wait on the most interesting one. Raptors, Knicks. I will once again ask, does anybody want to make an argument for the Toronto Raptors against the New York Knicks? Kyle, I know where Joe stands, and then Bryan said it would be they better win. So I think that we know where he's at. You want to make an argument for the Raptors? We good with NYK here. You're muted, Kyle.
Just as I was getting excited, I had myself muted.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna make a case for the Raptors.
Wait! It wasn't me. This is like the first time in like 40 shows that I wasn't the one muted. Yes.
Yeah,
No.
I did that on purpose just for you. That was
Thank you.
yeah, that one was my gift. That's my early Christmas present. But yeah, I mean, we just did all this talk about the Knicks and their play on the road. I know this Toronto team has also been, slumping a little bit, but I do have some concerns. Obviously, Deuce McBride's going to be out for this one. Cat's probably going to play and probably be totally good to go. But I think straight up, the Knicks should be favored. They are. I think it's 4.5 point favorites here, but I think the Raptors do have a chance here. And I think considering the home court advantage and the way that they, although they haven't necessarily shown it in the box scores, but I do think that this team, yes, missing RJ Barrett, but they still had some guys individually playing pretty well. And I think that they're going to maybe push some of these guys a bit more, which they haven't been doing in regular season games. We're seeing guys like Quickly, Barnes, Ingram, even Jakob Poeltl kind of held back on some of their minutes. I think they unleash these guys a little bit more here. I think they have a chance. That'd be my case for them. I'm still taking the Knicks, but that would be my pitch for the Raptors there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be very New York to fuck this up. Like that
Yeah.
just seems like it's something that would be in
That's
their
the
wheelhouse.
case. That's honestly the case. Is that the Knicks
But-
just underperform again in a big spot.
Even with just in-season numbers, where the Raptors have been so good to start the season, I still only make them a 38% chance to win this game. So we will go ahead and we will advance the New York Knicks. Now we get to the fascinating one. Miami Heat versus Orlando Magic, 1 seed versus a 4 seed. Bryan Fonseca, who wins?
I kind of like Orlando here,
Okay,
actually.
Of all people,
of all people,
Mr. Heat money line.
Mr. Heat money line. At
It's
2?
just, I'm just suspicious that the Heat will. Oh, Franz is out. Like it doesn't matter with them sometimes. Like we just saw this with Sacramento, as a matter of fact. And I don't want to over-index on that game, but Sacramento obviously doesn't have Sabonis, and I'm forgetting who else was out, but it doesn't matter. They don't have Sabonis, and the Heat just get their ass whooped, and they just haven't looked right in a little while. And Orlando's been playing better. They're gonna have Suggs, not even on the injury report. Desmond Bane's been playing better as of late since he's gotten acclimated to Orlando. No Franz Wagner, but I think Orlando has more than enough to still win this around Paolo Banchero, who has had some good games against the Heat, even if he probably won't shoot the best percentage from the field. So I would lean Orlando.
Okay, Joe Dellera.
I'm always selling Orlando. I think I'm not like a huge Orlando type of guy here. And I think the Heat pull this one off. I think they have a little bit more continuity. I think that right now, I like what they're kind of bringing on the offensive side of the ball. I like the pace that they're going to play with. And I understand that, Orlando has been good when one player is out, like one of their primary stars, or so to speak, has been in or out of the lineup, whether it's Paolo, Franz, Bane, Suggs, whatever. But I do think that against Orlando, or against Miami, it makes it a little bit more difficult. Paolo, it seems like he's being ramped up, and I would guess, Kyle's going to talk about this a little bit more, I think, but I would guess he probably plays still over 30 minutes in this game. But of all the games that you're going to come back and play, Miami's a tough one because it's not like a traditional 30-minute or 33-minute performance. Miami runs. Like Miami is going to hustle. And that's something where when you couple it with the fact that Orlando also plays at the 11th fastest pace in the league, this is going to be, I think, a little bit of a foot race. And I think that makes it a little bit tougher for a guy like Paolo, who is getting reacclimated into the lineup, getting reacclimated into, NBA play again to kind of jump up to that speed. So I think that Orlando's in a tough spot. I like what Miami's got, and I wouldn't shock me to see Spo start, maybe breaking out a couple extra coaching maneuvers here in this matchup to try to stifle whatever Orlando's got up their sleeve as well. So I think that the coaching matters a little bit here as well. So okay, I like Miami.
We're 1-1 going into Kyle's pick. Kyle, before I do this, I'll give you some stats. I'll give you some trends. The Magic, as a matter of fact, are not good without Franz Wagner. So they might be good without Paolo Banchero, and they might be good without Jalen Suggs, and they might be good without whoever. They are 11-21 straight up without Franz Wagner since 2022-23. They are 14 and 18 ATS in that. So they don't even cover in these sections. Now, on the other side of this, home teams are 6-2 straight up in the quarterfinals. 3-4 is home favorites. 1-0 is dogs. Magic are obviously dogs here. But here's the last one that Joe kind of talked about. Spoelstra is 11-7 all time straight up versus Jamal Mosley. But he is 0-2 straight up this season, though he is 2-0 against the spread versus Mosley this season, which is kind of interesting. Okay, Kyle, it is 1-1. What say you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Miami here. I think, all things considered, I think health is a big factor here. Missing Franz is huge, and while I do think Paulo will get ramped up a bit, and I think that leaves some value in the markets for his props, I still am concerned that he's not gonna be able to play like mid 30s minutes. I think this Miami team is in a spot where they're getting healthier. I know Tyler Hero missed last game with a toe injury, but that kind of felt like more of a day off rather than a serious injury there. It seemed like it was, a natural rest spot for him. So I think he's going to be fine to go here. And I obviously, with them essentially being full strength now and the Magic not, I just give them an edge here. And I think the coaching factor also goes in favor of Miami. And I will, I guess, give away a little bit of a spoiler. I have a play on this game as well on the spread. So yeah, I like Miami in this one.
Okay. All right. We are through the first round. We'll go to the quarterfinals go ahead and do the entire bracket, because you can't halfway do a bracket. That's not a thing that you can do. We will do that as I have nifty graphics being created. I will co-sign the Heat here. I really like Miami in this matchup. I like Miami in the spot. There are some concerns from the perspective of the Heat want to generate corner threes and the Magic don't allow any. Like, there's things like that are a problem. Here's our bracket so far, as we've got Thunder versus Lakers and Heat versus Knicks. But I like the Heat tomorrow to advance as well. I think the Magic are, I think it's gonna be a heck of a game, but I think Miami is legit, and I'm banking on them to advance here. Okay. So now let's go to the other side. Let's do Knicks Heat first. Do I have a taker for the Heat over the Knicks? Do I have a taker? Anyone want to raise their hand?
I will say that I do think that Miami is a more difficult matchup than Orlando is for the Knicks. New York is Miami's won 2 of 3 against New York this season. Last year, the Knicks were a lot better against them, but I do think that Miami presents different problems for New York, given the pace that they like to play with. So I would say that they're a more difficult matchup, but that doesn't mean that New York shouldn't win.
So it's interesting you kind of mentioned that. One of the things that is a trend for me on Orlando tomorrow is that Orlando is very good against teams that are have a higher pace, a pace 105 or higher. They've been really good ATS in those spots over the last 3 seasons. Actually, if we go back to 22-20, 22-23, 23-24, 24, 3 seasons, including this one. They are really good in those spots. They're 20-12, 63% when they face fast-paced teams. Pace over 105, Orlando is. The Knicks in that stretch, as I find them, are 17-14, 55%. So they've been okay in those spots too. So kind of an interesting one. I will probably like Miami in that spot. I just feel like you give me Karl Anthony Towns, you give me Mike Brown, who I think is a really good coach, but you can have that side. I'll take Eric Spoelstra and all the baddies in Miami. I just think that they're a really tough team. I think they'll get up for that game. I like the spot a lot for Orlando, but we can advance the Knicks. That's fine.
I will say too, the Knicks, out of the 3 games they played against Miami, 2 of them were without Jalen Brunson. The Knicks won one of those games. They lost one of the games. And the other game that they lost, Miami shot like 50% from 3 and New York shot 20% from 3.
But my question, my question would be, but my question, Joe, is is that a good thing or not? Like
what? That they...
look, if you're building a team to beat Miami, it is not dribble, hope for a foul.
No, I'm saying that New York lost the game by 7 and they shot
Right.
20% from three.
Because
So-
Brunson didn't play.
No, that was a game Brunson did play. It was just, I
Okay.
think, one of the first games of the season. The other two games were split. One game was both games without Brunson. One other game was without OG Anunoby as well. So
Gotcha.
tougher cap there.
The issue I'm also having though is the game they did win. Karl Anthony Towns had 30 in the first
Went
half.
crazy, yeah.
And Landry Shamet had he basically was Allen Houston that night. He had almost 40 points.
He was a god.
And
It was unreal.
yeah, and they're also not starting Mitchell Robinson anymore. So they might not start off with such of a big rebounding advantage. And by the way, like Mitchell Robinson has not been, if you follow on the app, we haven't been playing his overs as much lately. And Mike Brown has even been like, I got some things to consider, and has played, he played Ariel Huckborty 25 minutes the other night with Mitchell Robinson playing also because Karl Anthony Towns was hurt. But that could sort of make the rebounding advantage a little bit less than you would think if Mitchell Robinson doesn't have a big impact, because he hasn't been playing as good lately and he hasn't been playing as much lately.
Yeah, I'm going to be all over the Heat if they make it to the semis. I'm going to be all over the Heat. Okay, but we'll go ahead and advance the Knicks here. Let's go to Thunder Lakers. Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves versus the reigning defending NBA champions and the cup runners-up from last year. Kyle, who you got?
I mean, we got to have an upset somewhere. I'm going to take the Lakers.
Okay.
I know I said Luke has been in flow state, but so is Austin Reeves. And I think, LeBron got some rust off last game. I think that this team's kind of hitting a stride right now. So obviously it's going to be an uphill battle for sure, but I'll take an upset here.
Okay. Joe?
I think that the Lakers could win this game. I think that the biggest thing for me is that Lou Dort has given Luka Doncic some issues lately. And I do think that the Lakers present an interesting matchup for Oklahoma City if all three of their players are healthy, being Luka, LeBron, and Reeves. Because even if you put Dort on Luka and make it life hell for him, if you're still being able to run an entirely separate two-man game with LeBron and Austin Reeves, not great. At the end of the day, Oklahoma City's still going to win this game. The only team that can beat them is apparently the Portland Trailblazers on a one-off. I don't know. I get I'll probably be rooting for the Lakers because we have that Luka ticket for Cup MVP. But yeah. I don't know. It's going to be really hard to get around Oklahoma City. That team is just fucking rolling.
It is, and they are in fact rolling. It is pretty tough here. All right, but it's 1-1. Fonseca, you want Thunder or you want the fun pick?
I don't want the Lakers here. I actually think this could be more of a blowout than OKC's game against Phoenix, because I at least have faith in Phoenix. Like, Phoenix has the pathway to making this a muddy game where they just lose a possession battle and they just lose a creation battle down the stretch with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just doing anything he wants. And also you have Jalen Williams back now, which is very important. And Phoenix just probably won't have enough offense to keep up. With the Lakers, they have the reverse problem where they'll have the offense, but where are the stops coming in? And then if they frustrate Luka Doncic, because Luka Doncic has struggled against his team in the past. He's had some big games against them too when he was in Dallas, but you even saw in that playoff series, the Mavs Thunder playoff series, where he did struggle a bit, and Dallas ended up winning that series because they were able to generate some corner shooting off of Luka Doncic and his playmaking. But in this series, it just feels like this game, it just feels like OKC has too much, and it feels like in this tournament, OKC has too much. So I'm just not betting against the Thunder.
It's supposed to be 2-1. I have final authority to overrule this.
You could have done it with Knicks and Heat, but you opted not to.
I will let the Thunder get past here. I am a coward. I will let it go. But I will also say this: I think the Lakers are the only team that can stop them. I don't think the Knicks have a shot at all. I don't think the Knicks are in the Thunder's weight class in any category. Joe, do you want to make an argument for the Knicks pulling the upset of the lifetime here?
We got Jalen Brunson. Let's do it. I do think that if Oklahoma City, I guess they won't have Isaiah Hartenstein at that point in time. If the Knicks do decide they want to run some double big,
Wait, hey, we can't go. Are we really going chalk this whole way, except for Heat?
Hey, I tried.
Are we really on a betting podcast? Are we really going chalk this whole way?
We could do Heat Thunder.
No.
Knicks over the Thunder. Book it. We're in.
No, I'm saying we could do Thunder Heat in the finals.
Fucking good.
Yeah.
So I want to go back and I want to make one more argument for the Lakers here, Brian, because you're the holdout. You were the decider. I want you to think about this. What is the one thing that the Thunder have trouble with on the defensive end? They have trouble with rebounding, but what's the other thing they do?
I was going to say rebounding.
They foul, right?
They're over aggressive. Yes.
Who's the number one? Who's the number one free throw rate team?
Because of Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic, it is Los Angeles Lakers.
Like, couldn't you see a 40 free throw game here for the Lakers?
Counterpoint. Don't you think it's more likely the Heat beat the Knicks than the Lakers beat the Thunder? If we had to pick one upset.
No.
Really?
I think that they are equal. I think I actually have them power rate about the same. I think I'm actually like pretty even on the numbers.
What would the line be for Knicks? What would the line be for Lakers Thunder?
I mean, I don't know what they're going to be, because like if OKC is minus 15.5 versus the Suns team, like what are we talking? I mean,
8.
Yeah, 8 probably. I mean, it's in Vegas, so let's take off the home court, right? Like, I
think it starts at like 8, but gets bet to like 6 or something.
No,
like a lot of people will just take the Lakers.
I bet it starts 6.5. I'll say 6. That's actually a really good thing to do, is like to guess the line. 6.5.
Don't get sued.
Moves to 6.5 gets bet to 5.5. Kyle, you want to guess on the line
for Lakers
Thunder?
It's neutral court, but it's in Vegas.
I'd probably say
home for LeBron.
I'd probably 6.5 or 7.5.
It might be 5. It might be 5.5. They'll give the Lakers a point for. They'll give Lakers home court advantage.
Yeah, that's a Lakers home game.
Yep.
And I would guess that Heat Knicks would be like 3.5 or 4.5.
Yeah.
We want to be right. We want to be right, and so we're taking chalk. I will take. I'm not going to allow the Knicks over the Thunder here unless I get a real strong argument from Kyle or Brian. I understand, Joe. I understand your position.
Thunder by 15 plus.
I bet it's close, and then the Thunder win. Kyle?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think of all the teams in the pool here, and I know I was pretty chalky leading up to it, so that's kind of why I wanted at least one upset. I think all the teams most equipped to beat the Thunder or upset them, I think it would be the Lakers.
Yeah.
So I think I'd take the Thunder over the Knicks in the finals.
Okay. All right. I will tell you, I'll be playing one of these. I will have a bracket on DraftKings, and I will have the Lakers over the Thunder, because
for what it's worth, the Lakers have more cup championships than the Thunder do, so
that's true.
Maybe that will matter.
They've been there. There's been LeBron going to be the first 2-time cup champion, which no one has ever done in the illustrious history of the NBA Cup. No one's ever done that. All right, that's going to be our official DraftKings bracket of the NBA Cup. DraftKings, the crown is yours. All right, let's do some best bets for Tuesday in the association. We got lots of prop plays, sides, totals, etc. Let's start with Kyle Murray. What's your 3-star bet of the night, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm going to Paolo, taking the over 18.5 points. It's weird. It's like we've been getting these spots in multiple sports recently where people or players are returning from injuries, or maybe there's just a lack of, aggressiveness in the markets. Like, for example, Stephon Castle today, he had a pretty low, I think it was like 20.5 points and assists prop line where he opened. We've seen it a couple times in the NFL with some guys being kind of hedged due to injuries, and think that's opening up a spot here, a betting spot for Paolo Banchero. So I'm taking the over 18.5 points. Me and Joe touched on it a little bit before we went live, and he mentioned it a little bit during the bracket talk. But I put him at 32 minutes, and I could see an argument saying that that is a conservative number as well as an aggressive number, and that's kind of where I came with the median of 32 minutes. It's unlikely he comes out there and plays 36 minutes on, like a normal basis, but if this is a close and competitive game and he's good to go, they're going to want to keep him out on the floor. And I think that maybe leads me to more of a 30 to 32 minute range. But even in that 30-minute projection, still haven't projected to go over this one pretty significantly. I have him at 24 points on a 32-minute projection. We've touched on this matchup enough where it's such a good pace up spot here for Orlando. The only concern I might have is maybe there's going to be some reduced scoring that's maybe leading to some inflated numbers in my model because of the playoff atmosphere. But I think it's more likely a median between, postseason basketball and regular season, where the defense is probably a little bit more intense in these cup games, but maybe not NBA postseason level. I looked at the scores last year. The highest scoring team in all of the cup games from quarterfinals on was 118 points, which is a pretty low number considering you had the quarterfinals through the championship game. So maybe there's going to be some reduced scoring. So maybe I have a little bit of an inflated model with some of these player points, but regardless, I think the value for Paolo is just in expecting more run than where the market has him right now.
Okay, let's go to Bryan Fonseca because he also has a play on Paolo Banchero.
Over 10.5 rebounds plus assists. So
everything but the points.
Yeah, you can just play the
just
PRA.
Just to be clear, we have a 3-star bet on the points and a 3-star bet on the RA, but we don't have a 3-star bet on PRA.
You could take the PRA if you'd like. The only thing that made me nervous about the points was just the potential for inefficiency, but he could still make that up with free throws, and I do think he's going to try to get to the line a lot in this game. But the rebounds and assists I think should be there. He had 11 against the Heat on opening night. The Heat allowed the 5th most rebounds per 100 possessions. Now, some of that is a little bit fake just because Bam was out and they had a really difficult time keeping guys off the boards for a stretch of 2 weeks. But still, even though that number is a little bit inflated, it's not that inflated because the inconsistencies, especially when Bam is not on the floor, when Bam's not on the floor, you could rebound the hell out of the ball. And there will be some times where Paolo's staggered. Maybe Bam's not there. Khalil Ware's been inconsistent again. So he's had some Khalil Whiteside moments as of late. And with Paolo Banchero, no Franz Wagner there, more ball handling opportunities, more minutes. This is only 10.5. When Paolo is Paolo and in form, this number would be higher. And I do think because, look, people can say what they want about the Cup, but this does feel like a series of games that will get treated like they matter a ton. So I think we'll see the stars play their minutes. So Paolo Banchero, with increased usage, with increased minutes, I do think this is a good spot for him.
Jovic get majority minutes on him, do you think?
I don't know if Jovic will get minutes at all.
Fair enough. Who's going to guard
him? Bam in stretches,
Bam.
Yeah, and probably because Spoelstra likes to play small, they'll see some Andrew Wiggins as well at times.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be Wiggins a lot. That's interesting. I'll have to look at the matchup stuff on that tonight.
Yeah, it'll probably be Wiggins more because Bam, has to get Wendell Carter and they'll switch, and so there'll be some cross matchups too.
I do have a trend, by the way, related to the scoring output in this game. I have a trend on the under. Which is when the total is greater than average for a team. So for Orlando, when their average total this season is 234.2, which sounds high. And that actually, it is that's high, right? For the Orlando Magic. When it's higher than that, and this one's tracking at a little bit actually below that, 232.5, but whenever it's within range of that, they are a significantly under team. They're 9-4 to the under this season when that total is within range of their total. If it's not way under, it tends to go under in those spots. So I project this under, which is one of the reasons why I'm a little nervous about I like the RA line, but the points make me a little bit nervous just based off of the problem with the Heat is they play so fast, Kyle, but they're also a really good defense.
Yeah.
So it's you're going to have a lot of opportunities. It's volume versus efficiency is kind of the problem there. And if you're relying on efficiency versus with Paolo, that makes me yikes.
Yeah, I will say the one thing though with Franz off the floor, his usage rate is up to like 34%. So I think some efficiency might be needed just because he's probably not going to play that 36 minutes that you would typically expect in a normal game where Paolo's fully ramped up. But the usage is going to be there. He doesn't have a whole lot of competition. Desmond Bane has kind of been taking a step back when Paolo's been on the floor. That's been a common theme all year. So I'm expecting a ton of shots and shot attempts for Paolo here.
Okay. Joe Dellera, your 3-star play of the night.
So I'm also staying in this game, and I like Jalen Suggs over 4.5 assists. I would play 5.5 at plus money if that's kind of where this goes. But my biggest thing here is that I think that he's going to see the uptick in without Franz Wagner. He just had 5 assists against the Heat a couple days ago, and like I said, like we've kind of been discussing, Miami plays at a super fast pace. They do allow actually the 7th most assists per game to their opponents this season. A lot of that I think has to do with their pace. And you do kind of need to pass the ball around. They're not a team that you're necessarily going to beat just directly off the dribble. And in the couple minutes, he's really played primarily with Franz Wagner. But when he has played without him, he does see a bump in his assist rate. And when Franz is off and Paolo is on, we do see this assist rate skyrocket. He's got a pretty good 2-man game with Paolo. They trust each other. They have a good relationship on the floor, and it has paid dividends in the assist department here. So I think that Suggs is somebody that seems to be healthy between him and Desmond Bane. I would imagine that those are the two that see potentially like extremely extended run in this matchup, as opposed to, Paolo maybe sees like low 30s, but I think that you could see Suggs playing even upwards to close to 40 minutes in this game. So I like the over 4.5, and I would play 5.5 plus money as well.
This is gonna be such a great game. Yeah, I mean, Heat culture versus Suggs. Oof, it's gonna be so tough. There's gonna be blood. It's gonna be amazing. I'm so excited for this game.
It's gonna be a good one. Starts early though too, so like 6 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah. Let's go back to Kyle. Kyle, your 2 and your 1-star plays of the night.
Yeah, it should be pretty quick caps on it because we touched on both of these spots a good amount already. I like the Miami Heat -1.5. Again, mainly because Franz is out, and while I do like Paolo in the prop market, I do think him not playing the full extended amount of minutes does hurt him or this Magic team in the market. So I like Miami -1.5, and then not a ton of props. So I went for I was looking for a Paolo triple-double play, but couldn't find it. So doing a Paolo 20 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists parlay plus 3,150, about 31-1 on the markets there. So I like the Paolo parlay. And then later on in the morning, if you can find a Paolo triple-double number, 60-1, maybe 50-1, I think that would be a juicy little play as well.
Nice. I like it. Going all the way on Paolo Banchero for Kyle Murray. Bryan Fonseca, your 2 and your 1-stars.
Emmanuel Quickly over 2.5 threes because the Knicks give up a shit ton and somebody's got to shoot him. Emmanuel Quickly's 3-point attempt rate is well over 50 this season. 2.5 threes. He's done that as of late. There's a world where he puts up 10 because they're going to need the 3-point volume. And this is why RJ Barrett not being there is such a big deal, because he's actually been shooting the ball decently this year. Emmanuel Quickly, in his last 6 games, actually, he's gotten this 4 times. And the Knicks just give up a ton of threes, and he's going to be the guy to generate them. He's going to be their trigger guy on some of these 3-point attempts and just sets overall, as a matter of fact. And if they're playing around Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram, then you're going to need Emmanuel Quickly's gravity. He should play big minutes in this game, and I think that he'll put up a ton of threes. 1-star, Knicks -4. Now, the Knicks have been this season the worst team, and I've made fun of them plenty for it, the worst team against the spread on the road. 2-7, 3-6 straight up, a 2-7 ATS. But the Toronto Raptors are by far the worst team against the spread after a loss. 1-8 ATS after a loss. Only covered 1 time. That's 11%. The second worst team, Washington, is 6-12 ATS after a loss. And they've had a lot of opportunities to be worse because they lose a lot, and they've covered 33% of the time. So the Raptors, who have not covered a game in 2 weeks, have just been spiraling out of control. I'm going to, as a 1-star, back the Knicks here they better get it done. This is listen, you better get this done spot, because otherwise we're going to have some weirdo conversations, because to this point, the Knicks have not beaten a team on the road that is good, that you would consider a playoff team. None of those things. They've just beaten Dallas on the road. They've beaten Charlotte on the road, and they've beaten Brooklyn on the road. That's it.
The Raptors are 0-4 ATS at home after a loss this season, which is crazy because they're 16-13 over the last 2 years. So they used to be dynamite at home after a loss ATS, and it has not been the case this year, which is really weird for them. A couple of other trends I think that are kind of interesting, just to kind of throw in here. One, you're going up against team over 500 at home. That's tough. Like Toronto, I wouldn't say it's one of the best places to, like, that crowd will be up for the cup game. Like this will be a home court advantage game, absolutely, for them. Also, the Raptors under Darko, after losing the previous matchup, which the Raptors did to the Knicks, are 54% ATS, 44-37. So they do pretty well in those spots.
Matt, what do you think the line would be if RJ Barrett were healthy?
Ooh, not significantly different. If we're at
it's at 4 now. 4 now.
If we're at 3.5, 4, it might not even move. He's not going to be a player that's going to move the market. I would move it a point, but that's me.
Because I would be much less hesitant to back the Knicks if he were there.
Yeah. I'll look up what the numbers are for the Raptors without Brandon Ingram or without RJ Barrett, rather, and I'll have my write-up for tomorrow, which I'll have full card for you. Joe Dellera, your 2 and your 1 stars.
So I am going to be a little bit of a Knicks homer here, and I'm on OG Anunoby over 14.5 points and the Knicks on the money line. I'm not going to belabor the money line aspect of this. I've talked about it today, talked about it yesterday. I just think that this is a good spot for New York. I think that they are a team that is healthier than the Toronto Raptors, and I think that Toronto is in a situation or is in a spot where I've been expecting some regression. So it's a good spot for New York. As for OG Anunoby, he's played really well against his former team. This season, he's averaging about 16 points per game, just had 21 against the Orlando Magic, and he's performed well against Toronto. In 4 matchups against them, he scored at least 14 in all of them, with 14, 14, 31, and 27 points in 4 games against them. He's taken no fewer than 11 shots in any of those games. Here, knowing that both Landry Shamet and Miles McBride are going to be out, I think that OG could see potentially a little bit more usage. And there's going to be any game that Mike Brown is going to maybe run the starters a couple extra minutes, I think that this could be the one. And with OG getting ramped back up, he seems to be in a good spot. He's somebody that I think they kind of handled very cautiously in the first place before even bringing him back. So when he did return, he's able to kind of ease right back into the spot as well. Plus, the Raptors, not necessarily a great team at defending spot-up shooters, and OG Anunoby is an excellent spot-up shooter besides being able to score on his own. So I like the over 14.5 points. I just think it's a little bit light for this matchup against his former team. So I'm going to grab OG at 15+ and the Knicks on the money line.
I gotta get do you want New York, go New York, go New York, go, or the Bing Bong for a drop, Joe? Which one do you want?
I think it could be both. I think it depends on the vibe.
Okay.
Joe, you mentioned Mike Brown potentially playing the starters more minutes. I don't know if you've seen, but the minutes are reaching Tibbs levels lately with the starters.
Well, right now we are down a couple guys, so it does make sense.
That bench is not great. That's one concern I have for the Knicks Raptors game is the Raptors do have a better bench.
To Fonseca's point about RJ Barrett, you guys ready for these numbers because they're bonkers? When RJ Barrett plays this season, the Raptors are 12-5 straight up, and they are 10-7 against the spread at 59%. When RJ Barrett is out, the Toronto Raptors are 3-5 and 1-7 against the spread.
7 straight, have it covered.
MVP? RJ Barrett? I'm still mad about his most improved stock, which was derailed last year because he got hurt. I was very excited for the RJ Barrett. He's really good. I wish they could get hit. I want him out. By the way, if you want the real secret with the Raptors, it's basically this. Brandon Ingram sucks. That's it. That's it. And Brandon is Ingram is a very talented scorer, and he's an extremely skilled player, and he's a willing passer more than he used to be. but like every single piece of information is basically like, yeah, they're pretty good when Ingram doesn't play. Like the Jamal Shed, Scotty Barnes minutes, amazing. These should be great. I'm very excited for this. We'll react to it tomorrow night on Buckets at 11:15 Eastern. Appreciate you guys being with us. For Kyle Murray at KMurDFS, Bryan Fonseca at Bryan Fonseca MY, and Joe Dellera at Joe Dellera. For David Payne, our producer, for Giver Gould, our great guy doing us the solid on the video side. We'll see you guys again tomorrow night. Till next time, let's get buckets for the cup.